Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll wait one more minute before we start. Hey, Ricardo, remind me, were you gonna be able to attend AI Day or not? I can't remember.
I haven't confirmed yet. Need to get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Ron,
no
what is
pressure.
that? Hi, everyone.
Hi. You're asking what AI Day is? Um, that is a 1 day conference here in maybe conference is an oversell. We'll call it a super meetup, um, where it's the local ACM, San Francisco Bay ACM, and the Internet Society are co-hosting an event, and it's so the morning, afternoon is training on different tools and networking, and then at night is thought leadership, where we have a variety of sectors uh, of public and private society represented and talking about the impact of AI today, not necessarily thinking too far into the future or what's been done, but what is for example, if I'm a lawyer, like what is actually happening right now? Like, if I
Right.
do this, am I going to get sued? Right. So,
Yeah.
like, what practically is happening right now? And that the idea is to give everybody a kind of end-to-end view of what's going on with AI today.
And that's in San Francisco?
Yep, San Francisco on February 6th, at Google's community space downtown.
Cool. I have to go out to San Francisco for some business. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it, but maybe I'll schedule it around it. Could you send me an invite or the information for it, Ron?
Yeah.
Or just throw it in the chat?
Yeah, I'll throw it here in the chat.
Being in New York City, I don't keep tabs on things happening in San Francisco as a rule.
What? What?
Go figure.
All
Thank you,
right.
Ron.
All right. There's in the chat. Hopefully see.
Yeah, and I have to jump it. I actually have to interview some interns, so I'm going to have to jump in about 15 minutes.
Well, put him in here. This is the meat grinder. Let's do the interview in here.
That's true. Yeah, got it. Yeah. All right, man. Be well. I'll let you
All
go
right.
on your meeting. I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna hang on, but I'll be quiet now.
All right. Well, good luck. Good seeing you.
Okay, starting
Okay,
with
everyone.
intros.
Yeah, let's kick off quick round of intros. We have a couple speakers today, so let's try to keep this quick, and I'll try to get my screen here so I can like go through the attendees in order. Or you know what, better yet, let's just go through the list on the document because then people are paying attention. Okay, be sure to put yourself on here. All right, so my name is Ron. I'm one of the volunteers here in the group, and I work for a company called RXM where we do training, certification, consulting, all that good stuff. Bushan, are you with us?
Yeah, hey guys. I am an open source evangelist working at Devtron. So we at Devtron have built a platform over Kubernetes to manage multiple clusters and simplify the CI/CD operations. So I have been looking towards contributing to this paper. Yeah.
Awesome. Good
pretty
to
much
see you.
it.
Alberto.
Hi, yes, I'm Alberto. I work for Frontify. It's a company focusing in branding. We use Kubernetes, of course, and we use AI internally. I have been in the channel for a while, monitoring. I couldn't assist the meetings, but I watched the videos. So today I could make it. So great to be here.
Awesome. Good to see you, man. Okay, Cameron.
I'm Cameron McDougall. I have a technology learning group called Lost Noobs that I'm working on this year, and I'm a technical marketing engineer at Drupal Cloud. That means DevOps and MLOps content that I'm creating. And Tristan, Defense Unicorns is an awesome name.
Indeed.
Mascot's pretty great too.
And Cameron, don't forget, also leading our effort on the scheduling white paper currently. So,
Yes.
Ricardo.
Hey everyone, I'm Ricardo. I'm also one of the other volunteers and leads in this working group. I've been working with the CNCF for a few years already in the tag runtime, and I work full time for Snowflake. Glad to be here.
All right. So I'll kick us off today, but Ricardo will close down shop today, so there's no surprises. Vikas, our first presenter, hello.
Hi, I'm Vikas. I'm from IBM Research based out of India. I've been working in the compliance area for last few years, currently leading the Oscar Compass CNCF Sandbox project together with Anka and others. Basically, we are now trying to see how we can apply or use compliance for AI workloads and AI systems. And that's the reason why we are here. And today we are going to talk about that and see how we can collaborate with the AI working group and the compliance working group that we have under tax security to see how we can support compliance for AI systems and workloads. Thank you.
Awesome. Glad you're here. Josh.
Josh Halley, I work for Cisco in the CTO office. Focuses on Kubernetes, cloud native AI type activities at the moment. Happy to be here.
What? Nina.
Hi, yeah, I'm Nina. I work at Solo, working on the AI gateway based on our Envoy-based API gateway. I'm also involved in the Kubernetes community. I'm the 133 release lead. So this is my first AI working group meeting, but I've been kind of lurking in the Slack channel. So nice to meet everyone.
Thanks for joining, Nina. Glad you're here. All right, Deep.
Hey, hi. I'm Deep. I work for Cisco, mostly application security in the data center. And here I'm working on AI security white paper. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Deep, for leading the charge there. Omri.
Hey everyone, Omri Shiv. I work with AWS on the customer side, helping out with anything AI and ML and open source.
Awesome. All right, welcome back, Omri. Kristen from the Cool Name Company.
Yeah, I'm Kristen. I work at Defense Unicorns. I'm on their Lula open source project. We deal with OSCAL, which is how you guys caught my interest. AI is the least of my interest, but OSCAL got me, and I need to learn everything that everyone is doing. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
How do you know this isn't Kristen's AI agent? Because she says, I'm not interested in AI. The real deal. All right, Claudia.
Hey everyone, Claudia here from IBM Research. I'm based in New York. I do Kubernetes every day of my life, and I focus mainly on observability for AI workloads.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, everyone.
All right, Anka, welcome back.
Hey, and it's still January, so Happy New Year, everybody. I'm a distinguished engineer at IBM. Working on compliance in the past 10 years, leading now the compliance working group. And as Vikas mentioned, we would like to bring our OSCAL tooling and experience and see how we can streamline compliance for AI systems and workloads with your help, your AI expertise.
Awesome. Welcome back and Happy New Year's.
Thank you.
Valentina.
Hi, hello everyone. Valentina based in New York. I'm a principal architect at Red Hat. I also work on different projects and groups at the CNCF, the Platform Working Group, the Qflow. I'm also organizing the KCD, the Kubernetes Community Days in New York. So also I want to tell you that the CFPs are open for those that are based in New York or not. I mean, for those who can travel, CFPs are open and early bird registrations as well. So I will add the information on the meeting notes. That's okay.
Yes, please. Is it down here? Am I blind?
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, we need to put the
Yes.
link somewhere. Did we? Should we?
Should
Well,
I,
we should put it up here, actually. So if you
yeah,
get a chance,
let me know where.
okay.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
the other thing, reach out. We always have office hours on Fridays, 12 Eastern time. Please reach out if you have any questions or comments. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. All right. Jerry.
Yeah, hey, I'm Jerry Seidman. I'm currently president at a company called Aurastor, which does secure distributed storage that's used by like major banks and DoD and DOE and stuff like that. Ron herded me into this group at KubeCon. Thank you, Ron. I am been doing. My joke is once upon a time I was a mathematician. I did my doctoral studies in math 40 years ago when there were like only 7 or 8 numbers. Now there's like millions of them, so I don't consider myself a mathematician anymore. But I do have an ML patent in behavioral analytics and currently looking to do something new post Aurastor, and this seemed like a good group to start hanging out in.
Sweet. Well, we're glad you're here. All right. Thanks, everyone. All right, so we'll jump back here into our typical agenda. There's our charter and all that. If you're new, please take a look at those things. We have our existing white papers and blog posts and such. So again, please take a look at those under general items. We are only here for an hour, so I guess main point here is let's just try to keep it nice and tight and keep it moving. For events, Valentina, please put. I think you're in.
Yeah, already did. Is that?
Oh, is my? Oh, here.
Yeah.
Okay. Oop, I just ruined it. Okay, so please check out the events. The next one, if anyone knows of events, then this could be anywhere, as long as it's AI/cloud native related. Please put it in here. Next one up, at least that I'm aware of, is AI Day, which is in San Francisco. I'm leading that, so please register. It is in person, so everything will be recorded and released later, but it is in person just because we want people to attend. So if you can make it, we'd love to have you. Again, there's going to start off with agentic type stuff, KHGPT. Then it'll move into Kubeflow. We have Chase from the Kubeflow community coming to teach that part, what's going on with Kubeflow. And then we'll pivot into the thought leadership part, which again is going to be sectors of society. And the idea is we assume people don't get a world view of what's going on with AI. They just kind of see what's in the news. So the idea is to get experts in each sector to report in on what is actually happening today. Not what might happen, but what is actually going on right now, ranging from, medicine, civil society, professional society, legal, on and on and on. So please, if you can make it, food is supplied. So please, it's at the Google community space, and we'd love to have you there. All right. To our agenda today, we have our standing issues. So we'll jump into here. This is our dashboard. Okay, so before we get to the white papers, maybe we'll just jump down to here the in progress. Anyone have anything to report about the ARM effort, sandbox / setup? Anyone have any new news? All right, for anyone who doesn't know what this is.
Hello?
We have a mystery phone number, 861. Hello.
Sam. It's Sam.
Yeah, here's Sam. So I just resolved my login issue with Zoom because Zoom don't have service not fully service in China for now. So Richard, he sent me some phone number, so I just dial in the session with phone call. So yeah.
All right.
So
cool.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't see I can't see because I'm just logging by phone, so I cannot see the screen and well, I ran on Google Doc. Unfortunately, I don't have access to that either. So may I know if I'm onto this agenda? So when will be my session?
So Sam, you'll probably be at about 30 minutes.
Okay, so I just I just here and waiting for 30 minutes and the matter rest.
If you're going to present, you'll need to get on. Else
Yeah.
we'll have to reschedule you.
Otherwise we'll have to figure it out how to get you in, basically. And then maybe talk to the CNCF and
Well, I can make my presentation in PDF document and post it in Slack channel, so maybe
Hey,
everyone can help.
Sam, sorry to do this, but I think we're gonna need to reschedule. We got to keep the meeting going. Maybe just email when you get back online, Ricardo or myself, and we'll get you rescheduled and we'll see if we could help you figure out why you can't get on. Okay.
Okay, so we are going to reschedule my session, right?
Yep. We'll reschedule you for the next one or whatever works for you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. All right, so ARM, this is 202. What this is the CNCF got a bunch of credits from Oracle, and a lot of that, not all of it, but a lot of the computing capacity is ARM based. So the idea is could we start to with a project to port, in this case, OPIA. And if you're unfamiliar with OPIA, OPIA is a set of blueprints out of Intel to show you how to do AI activities, right? And of course, it supports Intel, Gaudi and chips and things like that. But could we go one more step further and take those, sys-based things and make it run on ARM? So Ricardo had started with others working on that, but I don't know where we currently are. So it started off as a demo for KubeCon India, and then the next step is, can we have a general purpose sandbox for basically any AI project here in the CNCF potentially could use it to, do training, verification, testing, building, Q&A, things like that. So at least that's part of the spirit. So if no one has an update, we'll try to get a better update on that. I'm actually not sure who is even the lead at this point.
Yeah, I'm actually assigned to this. So I don't really have any more updates. So I mean, except for what you already said. So I think we might be able to kind of just move this to done and then continue to work on it, like on other side items. But the credits are still there in Oracle, so we can still do things. So if you're interested in doing something with AI or something related to VMs with hosting models or something related to Kubernetes, reach out to me and I'll see if I can get you access to the system.
One small update on this one. I'm talking about OPIA. So I had done the security assessment for a couple of their bots before the KubeCon India, and I just had a meeting with them last week, and they are fixing those security bugs. I mean, it's not directly related, but that's the work they are doing. I see that.
Nice. Good job, Deep. That's why you're paid the big bucks. All right.
And as far as I know, the Intel team is also working to add full support to ARM for all their samples. So if you're familiar with OPA, it's just blueprints for deploying LLM applications and RAG, and they didn't have all the ARM examples. They had them for Intel Gaudi and for NVIDIA for GPUs, but not ARM. And then they're working on or continuing to work on updating them for ARM.
Very good. All right, so we have resources. That's the main message here, I think. So please take advantage of it. Okay, anyone want to talk about the sustainability paper? Any updates? I believe there's a new draft out, but I have not read it yet. So any additional comments on this? No. Again, for those who are new, there's another group at the Linux Foundation, right? So there's Linux Foundation, then the CNCF, then there's Tag Runtime, and then there's our little working group, right? At the Linux Foundation, there's a whole nother effort, the AI and data group, and this is one of their kind of sub efforts, the sustainability kind of, I don't know if they call it a working group, but group. So please, if you're interested in sustainability, please check it out. Additionally, there's another paper by a similar effort on generative AI, responsible AI. So if you're over there, you'll see that kind of work going on as well. So check out the Slack for the Linux Foundation Data and AI group and see what they got going on. Okay. I think that's all we'll need to talk about from the dashboard. We'll jump back and talk about the papers here. Are we on the right day? We are not on the right day. There we go. Okay, if there's no questions on the dashboard, we'll move on. Cameron, you're up. Scheduling white paper.
All right. People have been filling in some more content, so we're doing great there. We were thinking about putting together a YouTube presentation day, so I wanted to bring that up here, where we each take a topic of expertise that for the people who have put something into the white paper, or for anybody who wants to do a presentation. We've talked about it in here before about doing like a mini conference day on the Tag Group YouTube channel. And so I was thinking it might be kind of a cool way to present it, see if the information that we've put in there is being presented well. If we like the way that it's going, I think that'll really help us hone in on what we want from the paper. So if that's something we want to do, I wanted to call for some volunteers here on this list. If anybody would like to do that, if any thoughts on that?
I like it. It's a different tact on what things that I've usually seen. So yeah, I think that could be fun. Good idea.
Awesome. Any volunteers?
How is this in relation to version 1 looking? Are we somewhat close?
I think so. We were talking about, I don't think Victor's here, but he was saying that the scheduling and bashing groups are also kind of starting to think about white papers, is what it sounds like. And to not duplicate efforts, I'm kind of thinking that given how close we are to when we want to get this done and the deadline, I think that should be for version 2, if that sounds good to everybody else. We can even start that as soon as I could start going to those meetings next week or the week after. But I think as far as getting it out, I think we're really close. There's a little bit of cohesion that's lacking, and thus the presentations to kind of get it presentable in a flow that makes sense. And I don't think we're that far away. So I'm going to be spending an hour a day first thing in the morning on it, with the goal of getting it done by January 7th. So anybody who wants to join me asynchronously in an hour a day, I think we can get it across the finish line pretty easily. So we've got great information in there. A few things I would like to see elaborated, and other than that, I think we're looking pretty. It's pretty rough, but pretty pretty. So
it's all right. It's a version 1, and it's a fast changing world. So, it's a stake in the ground, and then people can iterate on it to make version 2 if it's needed. So, thanks again for doing this. I'll volunteer. I can't meet every day, but I'll jump back in to help you get things.
Cameron, can you
wrapped up.
share the link of the paper? So do you have
yeah,
a new
it's
link, or is it the existing link?
let's see.
Should be here in the ticket, right? Surely it's in the ticket.
No, this is
That's-
security.
Yeah,
This is security.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Are we linked to the wrong ticket? Or I clicked on the wrong one. I clicked on the wrong
Up. Yeah, that
there you
one.
go. I can read. Let me prove it. All right. Let's see. 2 different links. Forward index and paper. I guess we'll want the paper. All right.
Okay. All right, so this is the current working document, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Paste that in there.
Lots of scheduling.
Scheduling. Yes, I can read too. Okay.
Yeah, so for anyone who's never seen this, part of a challenge of doing this is there's so many scheduling techniques. Do you boil that ocean, right? Or do you show all the techniques, or do you order it by problems and then try to associate the techniques? Like which direction? So it wasn't quite as straightforward as I think people envisioned, especially when a lot of these things take a lot of different technologies. And so do you stick to, say, a pure Kubernetes approach, or do you allow for other things? I mean, cloud native is clearly not just Kubernetes, but for most people, it is just Kubernetes. So it's, which way do you go? So a lot of good stuff, but that led to a lot of things. And so I think that's part of Cameron's, challenge here.
Yes. Wrapping my head around it all, but yeah, but no, there's some good information that's been added, and yeah, an hour a day. I was thinking async, an hour a day. If anybody wants to join the challenge, or an hour a week, even I would take. That'd be awesome. And yeah, let's get it done. So.
All right. Very good. All right, follow up with Cameron, everybody, if you're into it. Okay, next, where are we? Deep, security paper.
Yep. So glad to tell you that last week we made a lot of progress. We have significant content added lately, and we are still working on it, I would say. And I would request people to go meeting note at the proper link, and there you can choose a topic or subtopic if you want to work on, if you want to add. And research and resources is the document which actually. So I think you have to click the link from your meeting note. So yeah, and we are actually adding the content this week as well. One update is that generally we have the meeting alternate Friday, which is 1st and 3rd for this paper, but 31st is not that day because that is the 5th Friday. So we'll meet on February 7th and we'll continue. Is it research? No, this is not the one. The working one is there is a folder. If you click the folder, the research and resources is the one where we are adding the content, the first one. Yeah. So basically, this is still a working document in many different ways, and contents are being added for every topic or subtopic eventually. And so I have some momentum going on. I think I see that the 4 people, including me, have added the content, are adding significant content. But of course, there are plenty of topics which are still pending ownership. So if you want to contribute, either contact me or simply just go there and take one topic and add what you think, and we will review before we meet on February 7th.
Any questions for Deep? Deep, I will also spend some time with you as well to help move things along as best we can.
Yeah.
I freed up that work a little bit so I can get back to the fun stuff.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Deep. All right.
Yeah.
So this leads us to our presentations for today. As you may have just heard, unfortunately, Sam's having some technical issues, so we'll have to reschedule. So if you were here for his survey on agents and the like, please check out his paper. But nonetheless, hopefully we'll get Sam back. I'm not sure what happened there. So what this does mean, Vikas and Anka, we have a little more time then. So instead of just 15 minutes, so maybe go for 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes if necessary. To teach us about OSCAL. And so for anyone real quick, OSCAL is a kind of a conformance spec that we might be able to actuate on. And I think, for the non-compliance expert like myself, this is, and I'll be corrected here, I'm sure, in a minute. This is a guide on how we might have our agents perform compliance-related actions in a way that can be verified and actually used. So Anka and Vikas are here to tell us, give us kind of a background on what OSCAL is, because the assumption is no one here, maybe a couple people, but the majority of us don't know anything about it. And so the idea is to get a kind of a quick hello world, what is it? And then get into how this could lead into kind of maybe agentic or AI interactions and interoperability. And it's your show. So thanks, Anka.
Thank you, Ronald. So it was great to meet at the KubeCon NA. I think it was really a very good kickoff, aligning the understanding of where we move forward. And I'm glad we had this discussion. However, on the OSCAL, right, I'll have to update the understanding. OSCAL is to compliance what infrastructure as code is for deployment. So it's not a methodology or a way to run agents. It is the schema for the compliance as code standard. Okay, so the way that, for instance, you are familiar with infrastructure as code, Terraform, right? So Terraform expresses deployment configuration in the format of infrastructure as code, the same way we can express the requirements, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's financials, whether it's AI workload, in the compliance as code formatted, aligned with the schema. Okay, so we'll go into details to clarify that in examples, right? So I think we should, if you want to stop sharing, and Vikas, if you want to start sharing.
Yeah, let me start.
Thanks. Okay, so we started this work after my experience, 5 years experience in a healthcare business unit, dealing with US regulation, HIPAA and high trust. And I couldn't believe in the 21st century we are doing the type of manual work and screenshots. And I said, no, this has to be modernized. And I discovered, so I moved to research to drive the compliance modernization and compliance digitization. We discovered the NIST effort on compliance as code standardization, right? OSCAL, Open Security Assessment Language, right? So it's a language. And we have used it to seed the digitization, modernization. We created an SDK. We created, we will see tooling on top of the SDK to help with the authoring and to bridge that into the actual automation. So we've done this for cybersecurity. A lot of you may be familiar with ISO, SOC 2, NIST 853, so on and so forth. So they have OSCAL formats, OSCAL artifacts for those regulations. And now and if you can move, Vikas, to the next slide, right, we want to bring the AI regulation in this machine-readable format. And we'll discuss a bit about the models later. It's not just the controls. In order to help with automation, need to bring those, high-level regulation requirements at the technology level rules, right? So getting from controls to, if you are familiar with CIS benchmarks, so cloud internet security benchmarks. You may be familiar with that. So in the AI, we have right now the AI RMF in the US. We have the EU AI Act in Europe. Linux Foundation trusted principle, right? So with this start, and of course, all builds on the existing cybersecurity that is provided by NIST 853. And there are many aspects, right, that are considered in the context of these regulations, from the privacy and data and security and risks and the economical risk and so on. Anyway, we will focus obviously on the technical aspects. And at the end of the day, all these risks are to be combined in a GRC system, governance, risk, and compliance. So the focus here in the interlock with this team, with this AI working group, is on the technical controls. So and operational controls. So if we are to take a look at the structure of those controls, they are pretty well defined. They matured now compared to what we had a year ago. And we see in the left side of the slide the verticals on the application context, the data, the models. So there are controls that are expected at each of those levels, right? Up to model serving and application. and this is one way of structuring those controls. Obviously, they now have to be applied to the life cycle, right, on the mapping, measuring, and management, right, from the creation to the deployment to the execution of those different aspects, right, of the data, of the model, of the application. And then a third dimension are the various use cases. So those control can be generic or can be specific to the data processing, to the model training, to the model tuning, to the model serving. So these are a few dimensions. It's a complex world out there. Of course, we'll have the traditional dimensions of pre-deployment, post-deployment, the prevent, detect, remediate, and so on. So all those come together and make this whole exercise of digitizing and representing those controls and evaluating those controls in this specific context quite complex. So we are here to show how we can use OSCAL to attempt to do this for AI. So I think the next slide, it's an example of controls. So we started automating some of them. So this is an example at the manage level at runtime. So to make sure that the harmful outputs are filtered out or the biased content is filtered out. Prevent generation of illegal or violent content, or evaluate the sentiment and make sure it's aligned with the AI actors in the particular experience. Or the implementation of active learning techniques to detect failure or unexpected outputs. So these are, again, very technical, but again, they are high level, right? The way that those are implemented, if we deal with OpenShift AI or VLLM, or it's very different. The APIs that are offered are different. So from the control level, we move to a different artifact, which is more specific, technology specific, in order to be more precise with the type of rules and how they are configured or executed in the context of a particular technology, so that the validation can be automated. So something like this you cannot take and generate an implementation. We need the details of the technology that they are applied to. Any questions so far before we move to the OSCAL details?
Yeah, the basic question. So these are new controls. How recent are these controls? So they just came about because of Gen AI, or?
Correct. So
Okay.
this is an improvement on the machine learning traditional controls that came in 2024, correct? There are
Okay, so
various.
these controls are specifically for AI systems and workload, right? If we look at traditional regulations like PCI or HIPAA and all those things, they are more talking about IT systems and their management. But these NIST, AI RMF, and EU AI Act, they are specifically designed for securing and complying the AI workloads and systems. Sorry, there was a question.
So George, does this answer your question?
Yeah, for me. Thank you.
Oh, so Ricardo, I I have difficulty following who was asking the question.
Yeah,
Or
Vikas was also
Okay.
asking a question
Okay,
too.
Ricardo. Okay. Yes. So they are specific, and within AI itself, we have as we have seen those various dimensions, right? At the model level, at the data level, at the application level, right? Those various dimensions, right? So the controls apply on a specific context, right? So if you are at the, let's say, model serving level, application level, we expect that the data that was used for the training and the training controls are covered in the prior life cycle of this whole pipeline, right? And only controls that are relevant at the model serving application level are to be enforced, right? That was the reason to put this slide together to show, right, the various aspects of the stack and of the life cycle that will trigger different. Okay, so let's move to OSCAL. So in OSCAL, we have now about 10 artifacts that we have schema for. The artifacts follow the expected compliance and audit lifecycle. So we start with a catalog, and here, in the interest of real estate, we present 5, but I'm going to discuss about all of them. So we all heard about the catalogs of controls, whether it's PCI or HIPAA or AI RMF, and they typically are in spreadsheet or PDF format, and it's that long list of requirements. So putting this in a machine readable format and associated ID with each of them, and separating the various aspects, right? When you have a control on 3-4 pages, right, you cannot directly get an assessment, right? It's basically split at paragraph levels, at itemized list levels. IDs are associated with that, so that we can carry that ID and that specific requirement and context down, moving right, downstream, right, at the system level, at the technology level, at the process level, and so on. A profile, it is transformation on the catalog. So a profile or a baseline. So to give an example, on NIST 853, the catalog has 1,000 controls. But if you are looking at the profile low or the moderate or the high, right, we have a subset that is, larger and larger as we go from low baseline to a high baseline. And also the parameters are more stringent, right, as we go from low to high. So a profile is a specific set of controls that are required in a particular context, baseline, low, moderate, or high in this case. And then as we move from this regulatory context more into the technology, we are talking about components. And they are not only resources like services or hardware or software. They can be processes. They can be anything that is to respect the set of controls. So the component artifact allows the software services, in our case, LLM owners, data source provider owners, to declare how the controls that are on the left side are actually ruled in the context of the particular technology. So let me see, I think there is a question, so I'm going to chat.
So Ronald had a question. So
Is
there
there
no
an open system you can point us to that implemented without AI, so we can study, compare how this looks in action? OSCAL without AI? So again, OSCAL is orthogonal to AI, right? We are talking about, is like Python, right? It's a language, right? So we use Python to create an AI agent or AI software. We use OSCAL to declare the AI controls, right? So OSCAL.
Anka, sorry, just to clarify my question. Yeah, correct. I was just looking for a non-AI solution because clearly, I mean, Oscar is already used, right? So in those systems, like, is there a prominent like open source one that we could, run ourselves and look so we can kind of see how it's done without the use of AI, so we can start to
Yeah.
think about how it might look?
Yeah, we can move next to the slide. We have also an AI sample for you so that you don't start from scratch. So we have the catalogs and the, go ahead, Vikas, right? So this is.
So what here we are showing is, right, the previous set of controls that we saw here, right, that are coming from, say, NIST AI, RMF, or it could be any regulation, right? It could be PCI, HIPAA. It's nothing specific to AI. How these controls are represented in this OSCAL machine readable format, right? So as Anka mentioned, right, taking this from PDF or Excel spreadsheet and so on, right, we are going to a more structured format where we capture each and every part of the information that is there, right, and capture that, assign an ID so that we can always link it back, right? So here we see we have a representation for group with an ID, we can have a subgroups with the ID and the text, and then finally we have the controls, right, and the statement of the control. And if a control is further subdivided into its parts and all, then you can represent each of those parts and address those parts specifically, so that when we go downstream, when we implement those controls, and if a system is implementing a specific part of the control, you can actually specify, okay, this specific statement of the control is being implemented and so on, so that once we go lower down and we perform the assessment, collect the results and all, we can see which controls or which parts of the controls have passed, which have failed, and then we can take remediation actions and so on. So what OSCAL provides is a way of representing these compliance information at a fine granularity and associating IDs with that, so that each piece of information can be referenced and associated. And here we saw how the catalog artifact can be represented in this OSCAL schema format, right? Now, once we have these controls, right, they are generic, that is, they are technology agnostic. And depending upon what specific system, software, tools, or applications I have, whether it's AI or non-AI, I have to go and implement these controls in my software or a service, right? So for example, if we look at the control which was to remove bias from the system, we could have a rule that sets maximum threshold for that the bias output in the byte should be less than some X percentage or something like that, right? So we can create specific rules for our products or services, right? So for example, if we take OpenShift AI model serving piece, right? So it can have a rule to check whether the bias is controlled or not, or whether the harmful control is within the limit and route. So we can create these specific rules for our software and services, which can actually be then checked and validated whether we are conforming to those rules and all. And these rules, if you see, are mapping back to the specific controls, right? So for example, in this case, this control was talking about three things. It was talking about bias, it was talking about harmful content, it was talking about misinformation, right? So you may have multiple finer grained rules to implement or satisfy a control at the technology level, right? So that is the piece of information that we are capturing here. Similarly, once you specify the rules, you have to go and implement the checks to perform the validation. So you have different validation or assessment tools that actually run the checks against those rules to validate whether those rules are getting satisfied or not, right? So you specify how your rules are implemented, what is the assessment tools you are using, and what is the check corresponding to each of those rules. You also capture that information here. And now what we can do is we can convert this information to a OSCAL component definition artifact. It has various pieces. It specifies what is the component we are talking about. In this case, it's the model mesh serving piece. It captures the information about various rules, any parameters it has, and so on. Then
Vikas, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Do you see Deep's question hand? I'm not sure if you see the
No, actually, I'm in screen sharing, so I don't see the question.
So I'm not sure, Deep, if the question is for the latest slide or new. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I think I have a very question that I can create the rule, which is fine, but then in the back end, I mean, whatever result you are receiving, this object somehow must be standard. I think who defines this object is my basic question. Is it something standard, or it just goes by whoever is actually using Haskell to create those rules? How does it become like universally usable if the objects are like customized always?
When you say object, what exactly you're referring to? Sorry.
When you create the rules, the rule need to be posted against certain data, right?
Correct.
And certain data is you are retrieving from somewhere, so that I'm calling as an object having some data or some handle by which you can parse it and you can enforce the rules. So I'm just wondering, if I take a standard example, for example, some security rules, so these data or the object which I'm referring to is sort of a standard, or one is always customized and we have to do it basically if we are using the Haskell enforcement basically.
No, so Haskell is not putting any restrictions.
Haskell based tool. I think I understand that Haskell is a language where you are able to create.
So let's take an example, right? Let's say we have a database service and our control says that your data should be encrypted, right? So that's the control level, right? You can create a rule for your database service which says, okay, I'm using this encryption scheme to store encrypt all my data that is stored in my database, and this is how I am securing the key. And also, you for that specific high-level control of encryption of data, you could have the way you implement it in your service, say database service or a software, is you will specify these 2-3 things that can be configured or in your database service, right? So you can enable or disable encryption. You can specify what kind of encryption mechanism you want to use, what is the key length, how do you want to share the key, and so on, right? So these are 2-3 things that you can configure in your database service, the capability that is available in the database service, and for those you will create the rule. And at runtime, you will perform the check to ensure whether those rules are being satisfied or not. So for example, if you say that your encryption should be on in your database service, then at runtime, you have to verify whether really the data is encrypted, whether the encryption setting has been on, or so by mistake somebody has put it off, so that you are not compliant with that, right? So you have to verify at runtime and produce the evidence to the auditor finally, right? Okay, my database is really encrypted and all the data is encrypted over there.
Just just to do the time check and to answer Deep's question. So the evidence is not standardized. The evidence format that you are asking Deep about is not standardized under OSCAL. And the reason for that, so OSCAL will only go as far as mapping the rule in English to the ID of the check. Now the check is collecting the evidence. The format of that evidence is not under the OSCAL standard. It can be whatever the native interface provides. And the reason for that is that in Vika's example, the database is encrypted. For NIST 853, the configuration in the infrastructure as code PostgreSQL's encryption on is enough. For HIPAA, they cannot care less about the configuration. They want 5 samples of entries in the database to show that those samples are encrypted. So we cannot really standardize the evidence format. I think that was your question, right?
Yes, I think that answers perfectly. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's the reason of the work here actually with the AI leads to understand how we can expand the AI-RMF and the controls that are today with a best practices type of evidence and rules that we can bring. That is the golden nugget, right, that we miss today in the industry. And that's, we bridge the rules that we bring with the AI expertise to come up with these best practices. And I hope this helps the team here understand where we look for the collaboration. It's exactly deep your point. Yes.
Yeah.
So given that we have very less time, I'll just quickly go and cover this whole end-to-end picture that we have. So let me put in the slide. So on the left-hand side, we have this authoring of various compliance artifacts. There are different personas here: compliance officer, product owner, and so on. They will create the regulations, the component definitions, and so on. And then we have these various tools and applications that are supposed to implement or support those controls, right? And to do that, we have these assessment tools or policy validation points, which define specific policies to check whether those controls or rules are getting implemented, are supported by the platforms or not, right? And in the center, we have this compliance and policy administration center, which will tie all these things together. That is, it will take the regulations and component definition from the left-hand side, from the respective personas. And then what it will do is, based on the my requirements, right, it will create a policy, normalize the policy based on depending upon which assessment tool I am using, and it will set the right parameters and all, and it will pass the policy to that assessment tool to perform the checks, get the evidence and results, and then it will, once we get the results from multiple different assessment tools, what we do is we standardize using OSCAL assessment result format so that it's easy to aggregate the results across different tools and produce a common regulatory posture and evidence for audit, right? So what we are showing is this whole end-to-end compliance picture, how this whole flow works. And to make this working, right, to help automate this whole end-to-end picture, we have developed a tooling called OSCAL Compass. This is a CNCF sandbox project, and it's not one tool, it's a set of tools. One is called Trestle, which is an implementation of the OSCAL standard, allowing you to edit and manage your OSCAL documents. We have an agile authoring platform, which is based on Trestle to help you author the content in your human format, such as Markdown or CSV files, Excel sheets and all, and it will automatically convert to machine readable format and keep those in things sync and all. And we have a compliance to policy, which will take you the compliance as code side, that is your component definition and all, and map it to the actual policies that need to be executed on the assessment tools, get the result format, because the number of assessment tools can be many, right? So each talk their own language and so on. So there has to be a bridge from the compliance as code side, which is common, and then the policy as code side, which is specific to a different assessment tools. So this acts as a bridge from compliance as code to policy as code side, right? So we have this whole set of toolings that will help you realize this whole end-to-end continuous compliance picture that I'm showing here, right? So from authoring of the content to compliance, converting this compliance information to policy as code, interacting with the validation tools, getting the policy executed, collecting the results, again converting it back to standard OSCAL format so that the results can be aggregated and the overall regulatory posture can be created and evidence provided for audit. So based on this, what we are looking at, as Anka mentioned, right, we want to create a best practices and a white paper for compliance for AI by design, where we identify what are the controls we want to support, what are the specific set of rules we can provide for various AI tools and platforms and so on, what are the checks that are required to collect those evidence and so on, how the policies can be created for different assessment tools, and then obviously convert all this information into OSCAL artifacts where our OSCAL Compass tools can help, and provide this all these artifacts to the community so that people can go ahead and take that, use it, and improve on it, right? Thanks. Anka, do you want to add anything here?
So yeah, I just wanted to mention, right, on Kirsten's point that our goal in the white paper is to provide the best practices, the tooling, right? We have various open source. Of course, we are familiar with the ones that we have developed. So we can maybe, collaborate and see how those tooling are complementary. The goal being to come up with an end-to-end best practices that covers the whole process, right? So that someone that comes from the AI without a compliance background is able to see those artifacts, helping them end-to-end compliance to audit. So Kirsten, maybe in a next call you can share. I think you have open source as well from the Slack as well, from the chat, your comment in chat.
This is great. Well, thank you very much. We're at time. Just a couple of questions. One is you show the open source project, and that actually supports AI right now, or that's just a framework, and then folks need to
It's
implement.
technology. You're correct. So there are these two parts, technology and content. So the technology is there. We have the samples that you have just seen. So those are real. The full AI RMF is in OSCAL format, right? We provided a small picture, but yes, that's fully implemented in OSCAL. The core of our collaboration is the next step. That's the difficult part. How do you get from this high-level fluff to the actual rules that someone can apply at data source level, at training level, at tuning level, right? What are the best practices for the evidence that we need to collect
But
and the rules?
still work to be done. There's still work to be done in that area. Okay.
Oh, yes. This is, and you need AI experts. We can come up with the technology and the framework, but the actual divide and conquer of the controls to the specific level, like Deep's question, that was right on the money, right? Is that evidence or those rules standardized? We are far from that.
And then, so what's in Sandbox is basically the framework, right? So that
And we have sample content, and I think Kirsten in Lula there is also complementary content. I'm not sure, Kirsten, if you have AI content yet, but it's a good source for content as well.
Yeah, no AI relation. I was mostly here for the OSCAL, but yeah, Lula is an open source OSCAL tool as well. We're very interested in watch everything that comes out of the OSCAL Compass, which is why I didn't want to promote me. But yeah, I think Brant, my lead. He knew exactly who was talking.
I'm very familiar with the tool from Brant. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, looking forward to seeing more coming out of it, and I think it will be super helpful for the community, for organizations, to start adopting more AI and also think about compliance and how to make their organizations compliant.
Yes. How do you want to organize this moving forward, right? What is the like in the tag, in the security tag, we create like a formal project, like an issue to seed the project or something. What format does it take in the runtime tag?
Are you talking about the white paper, or are you talking about the project itself? I mean, the project itself is in Sandbox, and you can continue to evangelize it, and within the different groups, this group, tax security, to get contributors and to get people interested and contribute their use cases.
I'm referring to our collaboration, those best practices white paper on how we can formalize the rules for AI.
Yeah, we can. So we're doing something similar with the security AI white paper and the environmental white paper, and also the scheduling white paper. So I think we can follow the same processes. Basically, we can start a group.
We can take offline with you then. Perfect.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. So just follow up offline, and then we can start like a separate group or something with interested folks who want to collaborate and contribute.
Perfect. Yes.
Excellent. Sounds great. All right. Thank you all. Thank you all. And then see you next time. We can chat on Slack if you have any questions. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.